welcome to this free training on how to deepen your decoding and unpacking skills for client progress and professional satisfaction. My name is Tracy Brown, and we are going to talk about 3 strategies that non-diet coaches and dietitians who love to help clients through letting go of weight loss wishes and hesitancy need to know to recover, and how can we best help them. So as we get started here, I want to talk about you. Would you like to have powerful motivational interviewing skills combined with learning how to track your client's body and what the body is saying behind what they are trying to do to build safety, so you can stop scrambling for the right thing to say? And so our clients are always saying things with their food and body image worries that we need to learn to decipher. Do you want the ability to navigate your clients' worries if health can improve with body trust without forcing them to forcing themselves to try to lose weight, where they continue this loop of shaming and all these behaviors, and know how to decode what their I feel fat feelings really mean? Would you love to have a business and a practice you love, working with clients you love, who are willing to take risks because you help them feel it's possible? And finally, would you like to have a business where you learn how to stay focused on building your business to bring in income, so you are resourced, so you have the ability to do the training and the time off that you need, so you don't get stuck even in a private practice or a job that sucks your soul or leaves you feeling burned out? So why my story matters to you. My name is Tracy Brown, and I'm a somatic nutrition therapist on my 13th year, and I've also recovered myself. And I learned really quickly when I started out a long time ago that trying to even lovingly convince people to listen to their bodies, stop paying attention to dieting, and actually overworking to help them wasn't sustainable. I got burned out because I tried to make my progress about me versus them until I learned how to really impact the function of their disordered eating and chronic dieting and body image worries. Honestly, on top of that, I was saying yes to way too many clients and the wrong clients. And I really didn't have a system to prevent people from using my services and then not paying me. And of course, I just wasn't charging enough. So I couldn't really utilize my abilities to my best level because I was just honestly working so hard. And so today we're going to discuss how you can not go that direction if you're early in your business, or if you're a more seasoned professional, how to get out of that if you're struggling on the treadmill of constantly running to get new clients and to do good work with them, and people don't stay because they're feeling stuck. So I want to help you build your confidence to work with clients that you can truly help. I want you to be skilled. I want you to be able to charge enough to get resourced and not feel guilty doing it, because we do provide life-changing services. You're not just another dietitian or a coach. So I want you to imagine you could wave a magic wand. And would you like to feel comfortable with uncomfortable feelings of our own and our clients? Would you like to be able to, when your clients say, I feel fat, you're like, yes, let's go there. This is going to be good. Would you like to have a business and not just a decent paying job? And most importantly, would you like to have a lifetime of tools that you can always lean back on when you're not sure what to say or do and you get stuck? Then this training is for you. So what we will be doing here together for you is thinking about the steps that you need to use right away to grow your skills and grow your business so that your clients get the relief they want. So you can make an impact and be seen as an authority and not just a commodity. And what that means is just any old coach or dietitian that somebody could pick from in your area or even online. We're going to be talking about how to get clear about who you help and helping your potential clients understand this. And again, most importantly, remember that we all deeply care about people. So let's demonstrate that with our skill, our consistency, and our willingness to take risk to make this world a more sane place with more sane people in it. As much as our clients need to show up to have that for themselves, we need to show up for them with our skill level as well. So what we all love and hate about being a nutrition therapist or a non-diet coach, and basically what the roadblocks are. We love people, but we've had to learn the hard way that people aren't going to just continue working with us if we're really kind and nice. I mean, that's really important, to be relatable and want to help people. But if we're not highly skilled, our clients tend to They might stick with us because they feel safe, which is amazing, but we want them to also just to get better. Let's say you know a lot about the research about health at every size and intuitive eating and where it came from, but it seems like repeating that it's not really translating for clients overcoming their fears or to let go of diets or even to let go of their overwhelm about taking risk. And again, I see a lot of people out there doing a lot of social media, let's say, or even let's say they're doing lots of things in their community, and it's good and it's helpful and people need to be encouraged. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate into you not getting burnt out with constant doing. So I want you all to get out of the constant doing mode and remember that you don't have to explain how the sausage is made per se to people. It's more about what they get out of this work, not about how actually it works or how you do it. So what I found personally, and I'm hoping that maybe you resonate with is that we've got to change our minds about how we do this. So what I see online and in the training I do with dietitians in my own community and online is that people are buying lots of programs and reading books about intuitive eating and health at every size, but that doesn't always translate into actual change for their clients. I see people trying to market everything. They're on every social media platform, but they don't really stand out, or they do too much technical talk, or they're not even for sure what kind of marketing works. I see a lot of perfectionism with dietitians and coaches, especially you all dietitians. I know that dietitians tend to be a little bit that way because of all the facts we have to memorize and stuff like that. But getting kind of hung up in the things that don't work, that don't help people or get you more clients, like getting the perfect EMR system or the perfect graphics, don't necessarily translate into helping more people. Again, not offering what people want or actually charging too little. I see lots of that going on. And people then kind of agonizing on feeling stressed and burnt out. Well, it's because you haven't found that right spot where it's like people can pay, but it also resources you. Again, I did this a lot. It was like, okay, I need to take another extra education course in nutrition because if I know this really intricate, gut health thing, then that will help me get me more clients. And that usually isn't the case. Again, we're not marketing to the right people that we can help. We're just kind of hoping we get clients. Again, getting overwhelmed and burnout. I see this a lot because people are overworking, but not really knowing what to work on to either better your counseling skills. And these are the last three are the biggest three I see is people feel guilty for charging for their transformational services, which is what we all offer. They're not doing supervision. I see so many people, and they'll say that it's about I can't afford it, but if you looked at where they're spending their time and their money, that's not getting them increasing their skills, then you might think differently about that. We'll talk about that. And then I just see a lot of people asking lots of questions online about what do I say when people ask this? And that tells me that people are afraid to dig deeper with the clients themselves, and that's why the clients aren't making progress. Is that again, people like us, but they're not really getting unhooked from the actual function of what the eating disorder behavior is offering them. So we are still trying to stay in the mind too much about what they're saying, but we need to understand how come they're saying what they're saying, get to the root of it. I don't see very many dietitians and coaches getting there more deeply. And so I want you to imagine what could happen. So this is kind of what I've been able to do in the last couple years with this depth of counseling skill. So I've been a part of two very successful private practices starting back in 2006. And so I worked for a dietitian and a separate therapist in both their practices, part-time in each. And then I went on to leave both of those to make my own brick and mortar practice as well, which went really good. We ended up moving, so I had to start over again. And so in the last 2.5 years, I built an online practice that has allowed me not to need aftercare for my daughter. I can be there for the day-to-day stuff with hers, and just to be there, able to support my family financially. And the two biggest things have been because of the depth of the counseling skills I offer, how I describe that online to people, whether they're my clients or not, just to let people know there's a lot more deep work to go that could be helpful. But it's about showing the depth of what this work is has helped me build my client base without tons of ads and things like that. I've also had the space to build 2 online schools for people, one for professionals and one for clients, and working on my trauma integrated third. And I'm able to afford training and supervision to continue to improve my skills, but also some business coaching. And most importantly, I work with the most amazing, motivated clients who are getting relief despite many attempts at recovery. But I want to share with you that things weren't that great. And it mostly had to do with 2 different things. One of them was lack of confidence to put my depth coaching skills out there for people to know what was possible. And 2, honestly, just, again, overworking and not, and actually taking clients that just weren't a right fit, to be honest. And also spending too much money on things that weren't helping me build my practice or my skills. And so I want to save you all the trouble of all of that and help you within, let's say, 2 years, have a practice that's full, or having some more space in your time to do some things that you need to do to take care of yourself. So, I want you to be able to have a nutrition counseling business that you love, and your health and your sanity and your financial life are stable. Again, so my breakthrough was that I stopped trying to do it my way and make everybody happy and try to be all things to all people. And that was stemming from my own past. And I had to do a good bit more work as I ventured into these last couple 2.5 years of what was holding me back. And I had to do the deeper work to find that out. And it's about risk taking. We have to learn to be willing to take some risks, to have the ability to decode and do non-diet counseling skills at a really deep level, combining motivational intervening in there with that, along with our intuitive eating and health at every size tools and research, using a relational and body-based approach to help our clients get relief. Set us apart as an authority and learn to be business people so you can have the practice you want. This is the bottom line. Doing these things is what I see helps take people who are really struggling and kind of spinning, whether it's online or in person in your community. So let's turn it back to you. I want to get back to you and what you can learn to go the next step with your counseling skills. So why am I teaching this? Just real quickly, is that my passion is to help as many people as possible heal their relationship with food and weight. There's only one of me. I can only see so many people per week. And so I want to teach as many professionals as possible for people to go to, and it be like their last stop. It makes me so sad to see people on this merry-go-round of treatment after treatment after treatment centers and different professionals, and not finding the right fit and not feeling safe and heard. And we can do better, and we owe clients that want to trust somebody deeply, we owe them more. I'm passionate that you enjoy the work as well. I want you to have access to deep skills to help people, because those sessions are fun and they're enjoyable and they're enriching, and I laugh and I cry, and I want in my sessions, it's not all super serious, but it's also when it needs to be like serious, we can drop in the trenches and our clients can flourish. And I just don't want to see any more dietitians and coaches who are really talented, who are really loving, have their own recoveries especially, be broke and lost. And they care a lot about weight inclusivity, but they lack the confidence to go there deeply with their clients. And it's about time that there's more of you all out there. So what we're going to talk about today, and you're going to discover more of, is that we need to go beyond just teaching principles of health at every size and the paradigm of the different checkpoints of intuitive eating, because it's almost like if we try to be too prescriptive with these things that are really important that would help your clients shift faster are being missed. People who have chronically dieted need us to work at the pace their systems can go at, and then be heard for what's coming up on a weekly basis. And if we just kind of go by like I gotta follow the book approach, they're not gonna they're gonna feel like there's some pieces missing, and they're not gonna understand why. You need a different kind of process. we need to be on why failing to unpack the ways our clients dismiss their fears in a session and then act out later. Like they say that they're going to do something and they don't do it. There's some ambivalence there, and there's fear there. They might be avoiding direct food conversations, wanting to more to read but take no action. What they really need is they need help learning how to connect more with themselves, more with you, and they need to go slower. So what we're also going to talk about today is like basically learning a little bit of what a version of decoding looks like, how to decode I feel fat and cravings work, so they don't run your client's life. And I want clients, you, to get out of this whole cycle of like, putting some stuff out there and just hoping it gets you clients. I want you to have some strategic ways of knowing, like if I do X, Y, Z, right now, not so much the actual down to the number, but at least have one or two ways of knowing, like if I do these things, clients are going to find me. And so this training is for you if you're interested in helping dismantle diet culture. So you could be a dietitian to be, a coach, and you want to see people free from the obsession and pain of being trapped in diet culture and bashing their bodies. And whether you're in an inpatient or outpatient setting, this should help anybody do that, have more flexibility. It's for people who are worried about counseling right and they're worried about making mistakes. And you just want a bigger toolkit to learn how to help our clients let go of clinging to what the world says is acceptable, or even their own rules, and help clients who are really entrenched in behaviors that they hate, but they feel like they can't stop. We don't want to tell people what to do, but we want to partner with them. You need to up your game with your body image and trauma integrated skills, because maybe you're getting more complex clients and they know a lot and they're looking for somebody to go to the next step with them. And you're a dietitian or a coach and you're wanting to go beyond teaching principles, and you want to learn how to unpack people's ambivalence and hesitancy about moving forward, because maybe they want freedom, but they're also scared to let it go. And finally, if you're stuck at an income level, you're not getting clients you like working with, or people who don't want to pay you, and if you've gotten burnt out with this whole business thing, then this is what we're going to talk about today. So as we get going here, I want you to think of our decoding and non-diet counseling skills for all dietitians and coaches. I think yes. I'm biased, but of course I think that's true. So I want you to think about some clients here I'm going to share with you, some examples. I had a client one time. She was a opera singer. And so her world was very performance driven, of course, and actually pretty competitive. I had no idea, it was very competitive. And she just had this belief, and it was just entrenched that like she needed to be thinner to get more gigs. I said, you know what, maybe that's true. I don't know. But what would happen if we worked on being more inner trusting, and what that would feel like in your system? How would that translate in your life, and what would that look like from the inside out into your world? Let's see what happens. And what we found is when she was willing to take risks, and I supported her in those risks, and she learned how to say yes or no to food versus it being so reactive, she was able to stabilize her weight, get to the place of intuitive eating where she could eat all foods with no guilt. And just having that burden of guilt off of her made her stand up straighter, feel more inner directed, and she ended up getting a lead in a part probably just a couple months after she stopped working with me. And she'd struggled for years to get like a true lead. She hadn't lost any weight. I work with many post-gastric bypass clients, and there's this idea that like my body's, can never do hunger and fullness work. I have to do these rules forever. And what's so beautiful about this unpacking work is you can learn to like look at those limiting beliefs with clients, again, try it out and help them embrace their bodies and maybe grieve what they've had to go through to have the little bit of weight loss they've had, and really just have compassion and be willing to honor their own unique nutrition concerns by working with the bodies they have now versus being at war with them still. And so you're going to get all kinds of clients, of course, and I want you guys to have the confidence to work with very intellectualized clients. Some clients come in and they're very into the deeper work, but you can also help people who are very intellectual and don't want to go there and don't want to feel feelings. You can help them be embodied eaters too, and here's an example of that. So this is from Bailey, and she talked about how every time she went on vacation with her friends, she was a single 20 something and she went on trips a lot. And once she started using this, like checking in with her, she could see her, when she could see that her body had wisdom, just like her mind had wisdom, when she could use that idea, she was able to start to surrender that maybe her body was just as smart about food as her mind was smart about other things. And so she was able to go on these, this is her quote, Tracy had another one of those weekends where I can remember why I'm truly doing this work. Went on a trip with my friends and it was truly normal, eating cupcakes and pizza and not having to obsess about it or do special things to earn the food. It was so fun and I'm feeling more and more authentically me. Her head beliefs around who she was and how she had to manage that with calorie counting disembodied her from who she really was and took a lot of joy and spontaneity that was replaced with rigidity. And when she recognized like her body could help her be less rigid, the food rules just started to fall away. And here's another example of a client who came with a lot of self-hatred and needed a lot of hope. And really the key with that was just helping her be with her feelings. And every single time she was bashing herself, come back like, hey, no, let's stop a second. Let's be with this. What's going on? And so she says, this is Abby, just 1 week into my work with Tracy, and I realized I'm not alone. I feel that I'm not crazy now that I can understand that dieting makes you think and worry about food more and how it can make you more emotional and out of control, not less. So simply by being willing to stop trying to teach facts, partnering with where our clients are, and unpacking that helps make more room for food changes to happen. And that's what happened for Abby. So the takeaway for our first part of this training for you is being able to use those kind of unpacking skills to be an authority and not a commodity. Dietitians and weight inclusive diet coaches must absolutely move beyond only knowing how to teach about food and principles or advice giving. Our clients have a lot of ambivalence and a lot of shame, a lot of fear, and they're going to get discouraged really quickly if we don't meet them where they are. So let's talk a little bit more like how did we get here and how do we get out of this? So when I was in school, I wasn't taught motivational interviewing. It was just like do tip people's 3-day food recall and give them some advice and here's some handouts. And I think because I know that's where a lot of dietitians come from, it's hard to like totally shift paradigms all of a sudden to like not doing that. Like I do food recalls, I totally do. I have people do food journals, but it has a very, very specific intent around people tracking their own systems, their body sensations, their beliefs about things, and it's so much less about the food. The food's important because the food is teaching us what it is they're saying about their inner world, but it all goes together. So of course, that works better with diet trauma eating disorders. How we were taught definitely does not. We have to learn how to do the how, what, when, but also add the both and, because our clients, they do have a desire to have freedom, but there's also a lot of tension to letting it go. And we have to hold both of those at all times without having an agenda about making them go faster so we feel better or look good. And oftentimes how that shows up is like giving advice, hurrying things, interjecting. We've got to move away from that. And those are things that actually do cause damage in our nutrition counseling sessions in that relationship. So we have to learn how to unpack food journals, work with hesitance, decode I feel fat, which we'll talk about later, help them take radical responsibility and self-care, and help them be more in the present, even though their past may have been really fraught. We have to uncouple like what they believe food means about their worth and uncouple that from past stuff. So that's really important. And we want to elicit responses when you get that constant like, oh, I'm doing good, everything's fine. If you're getting that, you can't take that at face value. We have to be gentle and actually try to elicit a little bit more truth to help those feelings kind of surface, but in a contained, safe kind of way. So their actual strengths and wisdom can also... So let's do an example of unpacking. We have a client here named Sarah, and she's had her diabetes being able to be stabilized because we stopped trying to lose weight, even though she was extremely pressured by her doctors to lose weight because of her A1C. Well, we worked on actually being able to lower her A1C by getting off the restrict and binge purge cycle. And how did we accomplish this? Actually using a who says dialogue that kept her connected with her wisdom her body sensations and her experience, despite the pressure on her from her doctors. We also had to help her understand her hesitance of being someone with diabetes who wasn't trying to lose weight. So, not, let alone the pressure of stopping losing weight in this culture, but also a person who has a condition that pretty much everyone believes that weight loss fixes, and for her to let that identity go. So the tricky thing around working with let go of weight and focus on food, when we talk about that, we talk about intuitive eating, letting go of the weight loss wishes, or just to focus on your health and not on weight, is that you're going to get lots of people say, well, that sounds great, but, and I want you all to think about this. So take a second and as I ask these questions, and we're going to unpack this a little bit. What do you think you would say if your client or someone you know said, don't I have to lose weight to be healthy? Yeah, I know I shouldn't care. I'll lose my identity and my specialness if I stop, whether that's restricting, even being special for having an issue. And I know I should change, but I don't know if I care that much. Now, if you want some free help with that, I actually have a free guide that I hope you've already gotten so far. You can find that on my website at tracybrownrd.com, but I have a free kind of role-playing guide that goes over some of these scenarios. But that's how we work on it. And so takeaway number 2 in this training is you have to learn how to decode food and body talk. So just a little bit of background. You all watching this probably know that our culture assigns worth to what it believes is worthy. A culture that values thinness as more worthy can keep a person who's wounding, listen to this, wounding around not feeling loved or worthy. It makes people more likely to want to engage in thoughts and behaviors, for example, dieting as a way to try to soothe that wound. So when you're working with people who are struggling with chronic eating and body concerns, the food is just like some of the surface piece. We really have to unpack and decode that. And so our clients know, and I hope you use this language with your clients, so please borrow this if this helps you. But our thinness, unfortunately, thinness doesn't heal our inner wounds. It just keeps us on the surface of our lives, and decoding can help us help our clients move past their suffering. And knowing how to decode what is really going on decreases our stress and helps us become more emotionally resilient, not just us, but them. So if you want to be an authority, you have to learn how to decode bad body thoughts and good and bad food talk. I know a lot of us do that with cognitive stuff, but we have to learn how to go to the deeper level, be more, what's the right word I want to use? More comfortable with uncomfortable with our clients to teach them how to do it. We have to move away from needing scripts and trusting the process. So I just see too many people online, like, what do I say when this happens? And then my client's doing this, and what are they saying? Like, well, ask. We have to go deeper to ask some questions. And recognize that when our clients say, I feel fat, or I gotta eat, like this dingy kind of moment, it's code language for I feel uncomfortable. And that's your first step in. So learning how to decode with our clients helps to take the bad out of fat and the good out of thinness and neutralizes body size. It helps our clients become more emotionally resilient and aware, and they become less vulnerable to what others think or say about them, even if it's in our clients' own minds, and they become more grounded and confident in who they are. So this is just one little sheet of paper of the many different ways I decode I feel fat. And so I have a person I work with, Molly. She's a non-diet coach and a registered nurse. And something that I think that's really powerful, and this is what she talked about, is she loves having these resources and learning how to unpack. So it's education pieces, but you learn to share these decoding tools with your clients so they get an opportunity to do that work for themselves. They're not reliant on you forever. And of course, that helps you. The more you practice this, the more kind of even, whether you're getting supervision or not, which I highly recommend, it teaches you a lot about how to work with all kinds of people. So I want to talk about Danny. She is a dietitian in training, but she came to me for disordered eating, and this is what she said, because really, honestly, if I think of her, she was one of those clients that's like cognitive behavioral didn't really work that well for her. Science didn't matter that much to her. She was in terms of like, oh, okay, I know how like this whole Krebs cycle thing works, and now I understand why I need to eat more carbs. That wasn't her thing. It was really this very embodied loss in knowing how to navigate strong emotion. And instead of blaming it on her body, learning how to be compassionate, hold space for herself. And that's what decoding did. But I want you to listen to what Danny said. When I think about my life a year ago, I was really lost and really depressed and lonely. You really helped me get past some big hurdles, and your methods, the decoding, we did many different versions of what you saw earlier, still help me today. I hope one day I can help people like you have, because you have such a special impact on people's lives. So all in all, I just want to say thank you so much for everything. And honestly, Danny didn't spend many, many months with me. Financially, she couldn't, but I was able to discern and unpack really quickly that, like, I knew she didn't have a lot of time with me. So I needed to help her learn how to decode, and along the way, and she was willing to eat more food. It was just feeling the sensations in her body and not blaming it as her body changed is what she needed a lot of help with. So me teaching her several different ways to decode helped her, honestly make the most of our sessions. A short time we had a couple months together, and obviously it impacts her because I got this email from her like a year ago, and that was a year after our work together. So, and that's the power. I have nutritionists from all over the world. Lynn's from Ireland, and the decoding stuff was what she took away because she's a very experienced nutritionist, very good with mindfulness, but she needed that other piece of decoding. I feel fat. So here's another example of some decoding work that I teach people how to do as well. So far, you've discovered that to really help our clients with body trust, they need to understand that there's another paradigm and that we can help them see how this might benefit their lives through relational skills, motivational interviewing, and learning how to not give advice and learn how to dig deep into what the food and body talk and the behaviors are really saying. We have to help our clients decode I feel fat, to help them stop trashing themselves, and truly bring some radical self-care to their lives. And understand how come a client continues to go back to wanting to diet or other behaviors, and help them unleash some choices. Because oftentimes they know what they need to do nutritionally, let's say, to help them with even a condition, but it's like they can't quite bridge that because there's so much wrapped up around what the food and body behaviors mean for their worth, for their acceptability, for their identity. If you can help them see that, it's not even necessarily you're going super deep. It's just being able for them to see that see the dissonance and the distortion. Okay, and so this last piece here, what we're going to talk about lastly is I want to chat a bit about how to have a business that supports you, keeps you away from burnout, and helps people. And I know that we're all in our own little non-diet bubble, and we think there's too many people out there, not enough clients, and that's not true at all. I mean, I was talking to a professional today, and we realized, like, we live in a town of like about 300,000 metro. So not huge, but good size. I only knew 3 of us in that whole area. So there's plenty of people that need our help, even in your local areas, even if you live in a small place. The world needs a lot of us speaking up, is what I'm trying to say here. So I hope you get this one thing, is that all the people out there who've been practicing quite a while, there's no overnight successes. There's a lot of daily work. There's a lot of supervision. There's a lot of practicing. And that includes your business skills. We can't sit at home and hope that somebody's going to call us. The people who are consistent, like I said, are consistent with their business, and they build products and they do all kinds of things, are the ones that like kind of stuck with a way of marketing and just kept going at it. And just like our clients need help learning that there's no bad body, we have to remember that there's all kinds of ways to do business. You don't even have to do online. If you want to, awesome. There's a lot to learn about that, but it's super fun. But if you want to work in your area, your metro area, your 3-state area, you can do that. The takeaway from number 3, learning lesson here, is why do you struggle to get clients? We need to talk about that. So you're going to have to first take stock of your life priorities, what you need to support yourself, and excavate where it came from that you have guilt around being visible and charging for your services. I recently worked with a dietitian that was charging probably half of what she should have. And this isn't like some higher super end price that I was thinking she should get to. This is just like kind of getting par with what people are charging. And it's one of those things that if she gets burnt out, which is where she's at, which is why she contacted me, it's like she's not going to be able to continue to do work. And she's so, again, I just think of this person in general, and I know you all are very talented, this would be heartbreaking for me to know that, like, I had to take like a summer off because I was too burnt out. That doesn't have to happen, but we have to find that space to get in just enough clients and the right kind of people that that we can help. So we have to kind of look at what problems we're facing in attracting clients. And what I see, which is stereotypical, is that we don't take enough action. I see a lot of people, like, they'll still maybe reach out to one new therapist a month, and like, we need to be doing that at least once a week, if not more. I have a lot of strategies, of course, but that's just one example. Relying only on word of mouth, and you don't really have a system. So it's like you don't really know what works, and you just kind of tell people, but are you telling the right people about what you do? You only have one egg in one basket, which means you only do one-on-one, which is totally fine, but there's a lot of feast or famine, and you haven't practiced enough telling a bigger variety of people. Let's say you only talk to therapists. Well, maybe you talk to therapists and doctors and massage therapists and a bigger variety of people. And number 3 is, like, especially on your website or on your social media stuff, that we're not crafting quite the right message for the right audience. So if you're wanting to work with binge eaters, but you're just talking only about restriction, binge eaters don't necessarily think that they are restricting. So you have to change your language. And like I said, it's not really about, I've said this before, but it's not about sales. I want you to change the way you think about marketing, that it's this awful thing, it's going to be icky. It doesn't have to be. And in fact, you can use so many of your non-diet counseling skills that you're going to learn to be a better business person, because you don't need to talk anybody into anything. You don't have to force people to do anything. So we don't get good at attracting and sending people through a journey in our social media, in our website, even in our in-person talks in our community. We want to talk about what's possible for them. So your slideshows and how you set those up, all those little things matter. If we want to help introduce them to non-diet living in order to improve their lives. We do this in our intro calls, in our marketing, in the community, and definitely in your first several sessions, so that you get a chance, they stick around to do the deeper work that takes some time. And knowing your ideal clients and what they're going through and want helps you produce content that matches their desires, fears, frustrations. So when they're ready, there really isn't much selling to do. I occasionally get inquiry calls where it's really cold. They don't know anything about intuitive eating. They just somehow found me on the website, but they didn't really get it. Sometimes those are interesting calls, but for the most part, I don't really do hardly any selling, and people are very kind of know what they're getting into when they first call me. So it really sometimes just depends on logistics and possibly money for them. Not so much like, well, I want to work with you, but help me lose weight, and they're insistent on that. You can be like me and play around with private practice for a while before I really started to get serious about supervision and unpacking skills and decoding training, and get clients that weren't really right. Like, I was seeing this weird mix of, like, I want to lose weight and I'm going to be on dialysis and maybe I got an eating disorder person, and it wasn't right. And also I have gotten people that just didn't know how to handle. You can't be all things to all people. And honestly, I also struggled to get my own needs met, just because I had to work so hard to kind of try to help everybody. Or I would highly recommend this, that you're doing regular training of some kind. So again, I want you to know that it's really important to do long-term effective intuitive eating and eating disorder work, that you go beyond knowing the principles and really know how to unpack people's fears about weight gain, about eating the wrong foods. And I know we can talk about we'll eat for full permission, but if a client says, I think this food is unhealthy, and maybe you're talking about like a soda, let's say, how do you deal with that? Because I want to unpack how come and where that's coming from, so then they can make a choice about if it's true or not. And so being able to do these kind of skills at a very young age, I was 27 years old when I learned how to do this, and I'm 40 now, is that you get kind of a reputation of being able to know how to decode and hook these really entrenched survival patterns in people. And I also want you all to learn how to make marketing more enjoyable and not see it as a necessary evil. So what is the result of learning how to unpack and decode and use these skills and how to market to attract. Remember, not talking about selling, because nobody really likes that word, even though as practitioners we have to on some level, but it looks and feels different. And one of the results you're going to get are having sessions and then getting emails like this. Now, this is an email from a client named Kathy. I worked with her in a very small group setting for just about 5 weeks. That was it. And this is what Kathy said. She was in my group when women stopped hating their bodies. Tracy opened her heart and walked me gently through my thoughts, my feelings, my old narratives. Her investigative prompts helped me discover places that I didn't recall that I buried old things. She guided me through what would have been a winding path had I gone alone, but she helped me take a more direct route to what was troubling me and then how I could have been better to myself. Tracy's invested in my growth. Now, Kathy, again, was a part of a small group, and I didn't have a big, long-standing relationship with her, and this group was only about body image that I created myself. That's what I'm trying to say, is when you know the foundational tools, you can get creative with what you offer people. And I simply took a book that is my favorite non-diet body image book and turned it into a class with not really even following the chapters in the book, but just really using it as like a base to look to and to read to. And I offer that once a year, and it's always a super popular group, and I don't really do any selling. I just write good copy that attracts people who want this kind of help, and they want to do it, not alone in a group setting. And so I am just writing for those people who want that, and there you go. And it's super fun to be able to know like how to unpack people's deeper fears that they don't really even know they have, but to make it safe and manageable for them. So I'm glad you're still here, and I really appreciate you all staying with me. I know these webinars sometimes can go kind of long, and the goal here really isn't to like keep you forever to talk on and on, but to actually know, like, want you to know where you're starting from, what you're missing, and if you're missing something, are you ready to move forward with it? That's kind of all it is. So know for sure when I say I want to help you create a practice and business that you feel happy to be in, with a counseling skill set that you feel confident with. I want you to connect with people deeply and help people who want to be helped. And I want you to learn to make attracting clients more simple, even fun, and your work really meaningful. And so I have the tools and strategies for dietitians and dietitians to be and weight inclusive coaches who are hungry for letting go of guilt. And I love being with people who like to take action. So these tools that we talk about all this session together are not for people who don't want to go more deeply with clients, who believe that you just need to teach intuitive eating principles to people and that's it. I've been sharing a lot with my other coach clients who aren't dietitians that you do need to know some level of what's happening with their food, because a lot of times, and this is what I've seen a lot when I've worked with clients who's come from other coaches, is that they had a lot of information, they were really into health at every size, but they still were foggy on their food. They still didn't know if they were eating too much and too little, but they worked with this really, really good, body image coach, let's say. But, I know that we can't always do everything, but what I'm trying to say is that, like, I want you all to have the tools to handle a big variety of people that are struggling, only because you are serving them the best you can. And this is not for people who aren't interested in receiving feedback about how you can grow personally and professionally. And if you don't like to take action and enjoy stuff, like I know this work can be really intense, but I have fun with people as well. So I'm looking for professionals who want to talk about decoding a non-diet counseling skills process, who want to go beyond handouts and scripts and principles and really learn how to unpack. You'll learn how to guide people to end symptoms like a lack of trust in their body, obsession with food and weight, how to prevent emotional eating because of deprivation-driven eating from either food or even thoughts about depriving food, and how to help people let go of the fear that their health will be damaged if they don't lose weight. So that's pretty much all our clients. You will uncover fears about health and weight with them and dive deep into why it's so hard to let go of dieting. Everybody's very unique. It's not just this is the culture. It is, but that's the macro. But they do need help with their personal experiences, because shame around food and body is always a neural binder with relationships. So we have to help them have a relationship with other people that's safe and non-judgmental, and we get the opportunity to do that. You get to learn how to help them hate their body less and have practical ways to decrease emotional over and under eating. And I teach people how to do a lot of containment via meal planning and when to transition to intuitive eating. I see so many people. I mean, you all know that I run that big Facebook group, and all day long I just scan and skim and see these posts of people struggling with emotional eating. They think it's emotional eating, it's actually deprivation. They're not eating enough because they're afraid to gain weight. And so oftentimes a lot of our clients are going to need containment, and to know how to do that in a very client-centered way. And I want you all to know for sure how to structure your first 2 sessions, and then how to take off from there. And so of course I offer all kinds of ways that people can connect with me doing that. I have a couple different free Facebook groups where I offer feedback, and whether it's very, very kind of basic supervision or some business mentoring. And so that's free group is Decoding Food and Body Talk RDs. So that's on Facebook. You all probably know a little bit more about me, just besides being an intuitive eating kind of specialist, is that I do a lot of diet trauma recovery and actually trauma integrated work. And so in the work that I actually also provide for people, I help people dip their toes into that work and see if it feels good for them, and then you can take off from there if you like. And I also am really big about practical advice around boundaries, self-care, emotional tolerance, and resiliency in our work. And that will help them and help you make this process for them much more smooth. And of course, I want to make sure that you all are doing really, really basic stuff. Like you need an email list, a really basic journey that you take people through. And I've spent so much money on things that didn't help me or work, so I want to make sure you don't do that either. But I also want to encourage you when something will help your skill level or your business go to the next level, that you go for it. And this is, get you out of procrastination, focus on your area of genius, and stop comparing yourself to other people. And finally, so we all start at different places. Like some people already have a good website going, they just need to help with a different way of either attracting clients, or they need a different income stream. And those are places that we can all work on. And of course, if you're new starting off, I want to help you get your first client and then your first 10 clients. And I'm big on meal planning in a sense of knowing it's an art and a science to it, and partner with people for a containment plan, not so much a meal plan. And to do it where you're not making all the decisions, because I don't know how many dietitians out there love doing meal planning. I don't, but I've learned how to do it in a way where it doesn't take a ton of time, and it's very much them led. And so here's what I teach, okay? And this is what I want to help people know how to do, is decode and use non-diet skills training, you have a process. It's not just like, I don't know what I'm doing with any client and you're making it up as you go. I have a direction that I know that I'm taking people, but it just looks different depending on people's backgrounds. There's a lot of access to me in terms of, how you can get support. I want to teach you trauma-informed diet counseling, how to meal plan in a client-centered way, build your business, and I do basically how I teach people through role-playing and bringing up scenarios that you can work through. So here's how the process works. I want to know where you all are with those techniques. And so I offer free targeted strategy sessions with me to help you discuss your 2 biggest frustrations in your counseling skills or business. So where you're stuck, what's working, and where you want to go to the next level. Again, identify what's working for you, what's not, and what gaps we need to fill to get you to where you're not a commodity. You're not just any. So when you're on Facebook groups and somebody's looking for a client somewhere, and you've got 10 people answering the call, how are you wording your stuff to be attractive and not just be one of the 10 that maybe doesn't or does get picked? And this is a 30 to 45 minute call, no obligation, not really necessarily selling you anything. It's more about where you're at and what's possible, and then what you feel like you need to do next. So the first step, just to sign up for an application below. This is really important because it gives me a sense of where you are with your skills, how how stuck you get, because when you see the questionnaire, it's like I'm asking you really pointed questions about like what you do in different scenarios, because that helps me know like honestly exactly where you need to go. The second step is to schedule time to speak with me and on my schedule, and we'll get it on the calendar. So my 100% guarantee, no risk, is that when you try out these, if you were to move forward and try out these skills and work on your mindset with your business, that you'll progress and you'll get more confidence. You know, I have my own recovery. I've been doing this for 13 years and seen hundreds of people recover. And it's just about committing to the work and practice and improving, which all of those things actually end up making you more money. And again, remember, there's no obligation to this call. I want you to know what is next and what's possible for you. And then your readiness is up to you around all that. I'm just honored to be able to save you some time and trial and error. So if you're getting a little fearful about scheduling with me, that's our brain. Our brains only take a few seconds to figure out what could go wrong, why it won't work. I don't know if I can afford it. I don't want you to even worry about this. Just show up with an open mind and let's see what we come up with. And just find out what needs to shift. I love doing the deeper work, and I want you to be satisfied with your clients and support your family. So here's the website below. Make sure you do like a screen share here so you can, if you're on mobile and the clicks don't work, that's fine. But again, make sure you click on this on the screen, click below this slideshow here. And you know, I'm doing this because I also want you to have a lot of autonomy. A lot of people do this work and they end up getting scared and they go back to jobs they don't want. I don't want you to do that. And remember, there's no pressure. Let's just get in the call and see where you stand with your counseling skills. And if you're feeling like that's not where you want to be, I'll give you some options. And I just want you to feel good. Like, I want us to get to know each other as well. There's so many of us out there that don't know each other. It'd be great to have another friend and colleague in this arena. So remember, the point of this call is just to find out where you're at around how you teach people to be their own food and body experts. How you can help your clients leave their fear behind around health and weight. How to decode I feel fat and all the emotional eating that comes with what's showing up on their plate is showing up in their life. So let's help them be able to know how to meet their other hungers for play, love, connection, boundaries, and speaking their truth, and instead of doing that through food. And let's get this practice going. I'm not a guru. I'm just trying to help you save some time. So again, 30 to 45 minutes just to figure out your missing pieces. And I want you to also stop piecemealing information, because you need to just kind of this is a big mistake I had, is I was trying to take, okay, I do their Facebook ads strategy, and I do this person's Instagram thing. I needed to have a place with everything in one spot and just stick with it, ignore everything else, because I was wasting so much time trying to figure out all the things. And here's that link again. So I would love to work with you in just to know where you're at and where I could see your practice going. All right, well, thank you so much for joining, and I hope to talk to you real soon. Take care now.